Good evening, everybody. Uh, Hi, I hope you're all well. Uh, I'm Reverend Alyssa, and I'm coming to you from Connecticut today. And I'm very excited to be here at the Pagan World Congress presenting this workshop. Um, it's called The Anatomy of Shadow Work, and I'm super excited about it. This is actually going to be the first time I present it, so very excited. And a little bit about me. So I am the first priestess of the Karelian Nativist tradition, and very proud and honored to be so. I am a licensed massage therapist and a certified biodynamic craniosacral therapist. So my roots are in energetic and um, bodywork modalities and healing, and that's where a lot of my expertise lies. So this class is the fruits of a lot of learning, and a lot of amalgamation of different modalities and philosophies. And this is I would say an intro to it. You can go so much deeper into this work. You can always go much deeper. And it's called The Anatomy of Shadow Work because it's going to be digging into a lot of physical structures in the body, and in the three bodies, and how that relates to karmic ties, blockages, and uh, shadow work in general. Um, so if we want to get started, I don't know how to click my slide. Slide? Ah, perfect. Okay. Um, so uh, it is my belief that we do not just have a physical body. So we have a physical body, we have an energetic body, and we have an emotional body. Uh, these three bodies, three aspects of our health, our wellness, and our selves are combined. It's who we are. They are intertwined and interconnected very intimately. So the way that they intersect and the ways that they meet each other are the places where they become useful tools in shadow work and in deepening our understanding of ourselves and our own healing. Um, the things that we experience in one of these bodies is affecting all of the other bodies simultaneously and in different ways. And you might see emotional baggage manifesting as physical disorder in the body, which is really common, or physical disorder that will affect the energetic system, things like that. Um, so they are intertwined, interconnected. Our energetic blockages can be emotional and physical in nature, and physical weaknesses and injuries often have energetic and emotional components. Great example of this is frozen shoulder. Frozen shoulder very, very often has an emotional component of fear. It's often environmental. It has to do with stress. Usually, someone will get an arm injury that will just never heal, or their shoulder will become immobile for no apparent reason. And that blockage is very often um, not a physical blockage, it's coming from one of the other bodies. Um, And in the same way, healing and self care to any of those three bodies has a ripple effect through our entire self and our entire body. So the things that we do to provide care to ourselves, is going to help all of the bodies. And there's going to be different ways and different things that you can do depending on what's going on. Slide, please. Okay, so karmic attachment in the three bodies. It's about holding trauma, right? Karmic attachments are often traumatic events. They are things that happen to us, things we can't let go of, things that block our energy, block our healing, block our self awareness. Um, and we can hold trauma in any of the three bodies. And that trauma is often interrelated, right? So, physical trauma, right? Holding on to physical trauma. What would be an example of this? So, the best example is kinetic energy being stored in soft tissue. Say you're in a car accident, right? You're in a car, another car hits you from behind, pushes you forward, right? That's all energy. It's energy moving from the cars, energy stopped when the cars hit. That energy has to go somewhere, right? Your seatbelt stops your forward movement, but all of that energy has to go somewhere. Um, and it often stays in the body. And it can stay in the body in our injuries that become lasting. Um, it stays in all of our systems. The fear from the moment of the impact, the stress, the pain, the shock, all of that becomes buried in your body, right? And this is going to contribute to your future neck pain. It's going to contribute to future fear of driving, maybe, or of mistrusting other people driving you. It's going to last. It's going to stay with you. That's a blockage, right? Um, Another example of long-term blockages, and it's twofold: our posture. So not only can blockages show in posture, they can be created by our posture. So if you spend a lot of time at a desk, spend a lot of time hunched over, that's going to change your body. It's going to shorten muscles. It's going to stress certain areas differently. And your body is directly connected to your energetic system. So if you're constantly sitting down, what is that saying about the flow of your energy through your body? Right? Um, it's not going to be flowing as freely. It's not going to be balanced. Another holding emotional trauma. Emotional trauma can be held in the physical body in many places. Uh, the psoas, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, is one of the deep core muscles, holds a lot of emotional baggage. The joints tend to hold emotions. We talked about frozen shoulder, right? Knees, feet are a big one. Hips are a big one. Um, where does emotional trauma come from? Often comes from traumatic events, right? Um, Events in childhood, events in adulthood, could be anything. Everybody's got their own, baggage, and we hold on to that. And it does affect, again, all three bodies. Um, and that the biggest way that you will see it is stress. Stress is, I would say, the biggest depressor on our healing, right? It causes increased cortisol. That's a physical response in your physical body. That's the stress hormone. It's going to throw your energetic system out of balance, right? Your chakras out of balance. Um, it might make you have trouble regulating your emotions. All of these things are going to play into each other. And stress not only exacerbates any issues we might be having, any blockages, it can make them much worse. But it's also just not good for any of the parts of us to constantly be on alert, which is what stress is, right? It's not being able to relax, not being able to let go, not being able to put things down. We need to do that sometimes for our health, for our emotional health, our physical health, energetic health, right? That's what this is all about. So, trauma and stress cause blockages in the energetic system that will further degrade proper function. So, this is unfortunately a stacking problem. So, if you're not doing self care, if you are not caring for yourself on a regular basis, right, all of these problems are going to compound. Uh, Undealt with emotional baggage is going to lead to more stress, more tenseness in the body, more pain, more everything, unfortunately. And remember, if we're doing self care in any of the bodies, it's helping all three. Um, but unfortunately, it's kind of a sinking ship. The more water it takes on, nothing's bailing it out, nothing's fixing it. You know, if you're not plugging the holes and you're not bailing the water, the ship's going to sink, right? So um, it is a problem that can compound. And um, an example of this is actually seen in the physical body with something that we call splinting, which is when you have an injury, right? And you have an injury and it goes on for a couple days, and then all of a sudden, like over here hurts too, not just where the injury was, and it just spreads because your body is trying to hold that original injury stable, right? And then the stabilizing muscles get tired and they start to hurt. So then the next set comes in and they're like, okay, we're going to stabilize the whole system. But if you're not doing something to fix that original problem, it's just going to keep getting worse. Slide, please. So first, we're going to talk a little bit more intimately about the emotional body. We have the crew from a well-known movie here, and um, it was a out there image that I was able to use. Microsoft let me. Um, and it's a good example of the emotions at work in us at all times. We are emotional beings, right? We move through the world and relate to it emotively. The emotional body is our body. It's me. So we move through the world and we experience that world always as emotional beings. It's the lens through which we view things. And emotion plays a part in everything we do. How we're feeling is going to affect how we're doing things and what we're doing. If we, you know, everybody knows if you're super excited to go do something, it's going to feel way better doing it. Time's going to move faster. You're going to be happier. If you're not feeling it, it's only going to get more of a problem. So that's the way that we walk through the world. We walk with emotion. And those emotions influence our health, our relationships, our perceptions of the world, and the way we perceive the people around us, and the way we relate to the people around us, and the way that we treat ourselves. And learning to regulate our emotions helps to reduce stress. Um, and unfortunately, individuals who have experienced trauma do have a much harder time regulating emotions. And is that an emotional blockage? Is that a physical issue? They are intertwined. It is both. It's neither. You know, it's one of those things. Um, that's That's the bodies melding together. And strong emotions can be released when energetic or physical blockages are released. So, what I mean by that is in the wellness world, we call it an emotional release. That's literally what it's called in training. And it can happen when you're doing physical body work or receiving physical body work, like a massage, exercise, stretching, can release those things. And it happens usually very spontaneously and often out of nowhere. You will just be overcome with emotion. And that is an emotional blockage that has been released in a physical manner. And it's very common um, to have strong emotions when we release these blockages. And it happens with energetic blockages too. If you've ever done strong soul retrieval, um, you know how strong those emotions can hit you when you're ready to feel them again. And when the trauma that you've been working on lets go and you're able to feel those things again. Um, it's a very sudden experience. Um, and it's a good thing. It is. It's a very good thing. Slide, please. All right, so this is where we get to some cool stuff. We're going to start talking about the energetic system and how the energetic system relates to the physical body. The emotional body, I know it's kind of this amorphous, ethereal, can't really pin it down thing that is always with us, right? But the energetic system and the physical body both have an actual anatomy. So we all know about the chakras. There are 7 major chakras and probably hundreds of minor chakras, especially if you follow traditional Chinese medicine and acupressure um, throughout the body. And these are the core bodies of the energetic system, would be the 7 major chakras. But as we know, what is a chakra? It is an energy center of the body. And the major energy centers, the 7 chakras, we know they each are often aligned with a color, with a feeling, uh, with an organ, with a specific location. Um, so they do their own jobs. Um, and they are intimately connected to our feelings and our emotions, as I said, and reside in a physical space. Um, so the root chakra, often associated with the perineum, right? And your second chakra, often said to reside in the navel. Solar plexus, residing in the diaphragm. Heart chakra, aligned with the heart. So these are the overlaps of the physical and energetic system. So this is a really cool diagram from a book called Emotional Anatomy. And what it is showing is a physical structure in the body called a horizontal fascial band. So, fascia is a physical structure in the body that binds us together almost like saran wrap. It can be solid, it can be liquid, it's very motile. It can get adhesions itself, blockages in the fascia, but it basically runs through all of your muscle tissue and connects the body like a web. Um, so if you think of it kind of like almost like spider web, just running through all of you, connecting everything. So these are horizontal fascial bands, which are thickened areas that run around the torso in these areas. And just look how it happens to line up. Isn't that interesting? So the primary purpose of fascia in the body is to provide structure and support, right? So why would the body which doesn't tend to move very much in horizontal directions like that, what could it need thickened fascial bands for in those particular areas? I wonder. It just happened to associate with chakras. One of those things, right? Um, so these bands, in my opinion, are there both to support the chakra, right? And as a result of all of the work that the chakra is doing, because our bodies like to lay down fascia in places that move a lot. Joints, bottoms of your feet, places that have stress. We'll lay down fascia. So that's just a very fun example of the energetic system having a very palpable and visible physical component that helps it to function better. So these chakras residing in this physical space have this chakra to support them. I'm sorry, this fascia to support them in doing their work. Slide, please. All right, so continuing on with the energetic system. So the chakras are the motor, right? It's the main energetic system. So there are other components, right? Meridians and circuits. So the meridians and the circuits are how energy moves through the body, how it moves between the chakras, how it functions, how we use that energy. Circuits mostly tend to be passive. You can do certain things to get them moving with physical stimulation, like massage, acupuncture, moxilation. Moxilation is a big one that is often overlooked. And uh, all of those things can stimulate the circuits to move, stimulate blockages to clear, things like that. Um, Interestingly enough, meridians, each meridian also has its own hour where energy runs through it stronger. And if you want to look into that a little bit more, I suggest researching traditional Chinese medicine because it's a fascinating, fascinating modality and energy healing philosophy. Um, but and then the circuits of the body, there's three energy circuits of the body. You can see those here on the lower right. That is the solar, the lunar, and the stellar circuit. Uh, Solar circuit is passive. It's just the running of the chakras, right? The distribution of energy. The lunar has to be activated. That's the circuit we use when we do magic. And then the stellar is very specific purpose. Um, the stellar chakra is for oracles. And drawing down the moon. So the 12 meridians have a very physical component, right, in acupressure points. Acupressure points are mapped out. As you can see from this diagram on the left, that's a map of the 12 meridians and their acupressure points on the front of the body. It also extends on the back of the body and the sides. But you can see how extensive it is, and those points are mapped, and they are there, and they might move on a person by half an inch or so, but they're going to be pretty much in that general area. And if you know where those points are, you can affect a lot of change on the physical and emotional bodies and energetic bodies. getting things to flow better. Um, I once had a teacher tell me a story. They were an EMT and were in an ambulance and had a patient whose heart stopped. They were unable to resuscitate them. And out of sheer desperation, he punched them on their pinky finger, which is a cardiac stimulation point in acupressure. And he just ended up actually breaking their finger, but their heart started. And um, absolutely attributes it to the jolt of energy and the CPR working together, because the CPR by itself was not working. So it's a great example of the energetic and the physical bodies being related. Um, but those points can be physically manipulated to move energy and to clear blockages, which are manifesting in the body as physical and emotional issues. If you do learn about traditional Chinese medicine, you'll find um, a lot of it is the way that physical ailments and energy intersect in the body, and um, energy as heat and wet and elements. It's a fascinating practice, really. Um, and I want to draw your attention to another cool thing, like those fascial bands. So on that top right corner, um, you'll see what's called um, the fascial lines of the body. So these are maps of how our musculature is connected by fascia in our body. So you'll see that back line where the fascia runs from the bottoms of the feet all the way up to the forehead. It's literally the path of the bladder meridian. So the meridians very pretty much closely match. Those fascial lines, that's only two of them that you're seeing right there. But there are, I don't think there's quite 12. I think there's 9 actually. Um, but they match the meridians pretty darn closely. So that's another example of the fascial system supporting our energetic system and not just our physical body. Because that fascial system is very important for the structure of our physical body and maintaining our tensegrity, which tensegrity is how things stay upright, right? Instead of collapsing in on themselves. So it's just, to me, the most fascinating thing is to see the structures in the body and how they have evolved, not just for our physical needs, but really shows our energetic system as well and how it is supported and integrated. Um, so it's just very cool. Slide, please. All right, so this is a very specific body structure that I'm going to talk about right now. It's called the lamina terminalis and is a structure in the human brain. And we're going to talk about not only the structure and what it does, but we're going to talk about its formation because it is very cool. And this is part of what inspired me to make this class. So the lamina terminalis is one of the very first structures of the human body to form in utero. It's an important part of embryology, and it is, in my opinion, the first physical anchor of our energetic system. So it is our energetic system, which in my opinion is the first thing to be formed in utero before any tissue or bones or anything. The first thing that you have is an energetic system, and that's the primitive streak. The lamina terminalis forms at the tip, the end of the primitive streak. So the primitive streak is visible through ultrasound only between 2 and 4 weeks gestation, and then it disappears. You'll never see it again. After, the if you remember, like mitosis, and the cells come in, and the cells split, and that's how embryos start, right? Egg, sperm, and then the cells just start splitting. At 2 weeks, it's formed into basically kind of like a sac almost. But the first thing that you can see, the first thing is that primitive streak. And that top left photo is an ultrasound picture of the primitive streak. The primitive streak, after it disappears, it doesn't really disappear, it becomes another structure. It becomes what's called the notochord, which is the primitive structure of our spinal cord. In my opinion, the primitive streak is the formation of our energetic system. And everything comes from that lamina terminalis. So if you look at the brain there, the lamina terminalis, unfortunately, is not labeled. I'm sorry about that. I couldn't find a better picture. But if you see the pituitary gland, which, if you remember, the pituitary gland is often associated with the third eye chakra. The lamina terminalis is that little tiny skinny piece that sits right over the pituitary gland. And they are so close together as to almost be the same structure. Um, and that lamina terminalis is known in the body. It's a current structure in your body. It stays with you through your life. And what does it do? It regulates the fluids in your body, the balance of water and blood within your body, liquid energy, right? So what else is it doing? Is it still regulating our energy? Is it running a circuit? It's certainly connected to our third eye chakra, right? In my opinion, it's connected to all of our energetic system because it was the first physical offshoot of the formation of that energetic system, of that primitive streak, which is basically your chakras. So you had an energetic body before you had a physical body, and probably before your emotional body too. Slide, please. So now we're going to look at another physical structure of the body that is an intersection point, like the lamina terminalis, for all of the bodies. And it's a muscle in the body called the psoas. And you can see the two diagrams there that show the psoas. So the psoas attaches on the lumbar spine, on the lumbar spine, and then attaches down on the leg on the lower trochanter. It is a deep core muscle of the body, and it is the only muscle that connects the spine to the legs. It's the only muscle that spans that break there, which is very important when you think about the purpose of the core: balance, stability, and also movement. And that core facilitating your movement, right? Facilitating the movement of your legs with the top half of your body. The psoas has fascial connections, uh, deep fascial connections up through the body into the diaphragm, where the vagus nerve runs, and even up into the heart and the throat. Um, so tension in the psoas will affect your breathing, because it's connected to your diaphragm. And uh, breathing, I think we all, as energetic practitioners, know how important breathing and the practice of breathing is to moving energy through the body. It's a physical process, but it's also, again, an energetic process. So any tension or blockages in the psoas or adhesions in the psoas, adhesions are a physical representation of a blockage. When you say you have a knot in a muscle, that's an adhesion. Um, when that psoas gets tight, it's going to pull on your diaphragm. It's going to pull on your heart. It's going to pull everything down and in. The psoas is also called the muscle of the soul or the physical seat of the soul. And that is because it has a deep and strong connection to our emotional body. Um, that connection with the vagus nerve gives it a very strong association with our body's fight or flight reflex. And that is a stress reflex that allows us to survive in stressful situations, right? However, unfortunately, trauma and attachments causing stress will get us stuck in that fight or flight mentality. And that trauma often sits in the psoas, right? The psoas is connected to your legs. That's your escape, right? That's how you're going to run away. Also connected in through your pelvis, your um, pelvic wall. Um, that's what helps you when you go to the bathroom. Um, it's what helps you from not going to the bathroom. So all of those things intimately connected again to fight or flight and also to our body's general health. So a restricted psoas muscle is going to prolong your stress. It is going to stick you in that state. It's going to cause pain and physical restriction, prevent your deep breathing, restrict your creativity and your energetic flow through the body. And this contributes to energetic and emotional fatigue and shutdown. That's that snowball that keeps going if we don't interrupt the cycle with self care, with shadow work, with our own concerted energy to help ourselves. Um, so the psoas, a very important body structure that's really an intersection of all three bodies, um, has fascial connections to pretty much all the chakras and is uh, the seat of the soul. Slide. So, what can we do? How do we fix this, right? How do we heal our blockages? How do we release our trauma? And how do we use our knowledge of the three bodies to facilitate our own healing, right? How do we hack it, basically? So, here's some suggestions, and I will tell you why they'll work. So, breathing and breath work. 90% of people breathe wrong. You're supposed to breathe into your diaphragm, not your chest. If you don't know if you breathe right, put your hand on your chest and your hand on your diaphragm, look in a mirror, and watch yourself breathe. Your top hand will always move a little bit, but mostly it should not be moving. It should be the hand on your diaphragm that is moving. And unfortunately, the only way to promote healthy breathing is to practice it. Same with posture. Actually, if you have bad posture, the only way to correct these things is to be mindful and self-aware of them and train yourself to breathe correctly over time. And um, breath flows through all of the systems, helps to clear blockages, helps to move energy. Breathing moves energy. Breathing also is very good for your physical body. If your diaphragm is not moving, if your diaphragm has a blockage, if it's not expanding correctly, your digestion's not going to be as good. Your um, movement of through other organs like the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas, not going to be as productive. The diaphragm stimulates all of that with its huge movements every time you breathe. Um, so breathing and breath work, and those pair really, really well with meditation. I strongly recommend soul retrieval. Correllian soul retrieval is a practice that we do, but it's also well known through shamanic circles. Soul retrieval is a very common method of shadow work. And we do it with a meditation, but there's a lot of ways to do it. And um, but meditation in general, um, mindfulness meditation, active meditation, taking even a few minutes a day to just be still will help lower your stress. It's going to lower those cortisol levels. It's going to breed an environment for your body to begin to relax and let go of its blockages, which is the most important thing. Therapy, both kinds of therapy, massage therapy, which is manual therapy, as well as emotional, mental therapy. All of these things clear blockages. Um, Obviously, therapy is going to work with the emotional body to help release trauma, which will affect the energetic and physical bodies as that trauma releases. It's going to help move things along, right? Massage therapy, very awesome way to treat the physical manifestation of emotional and energetic problems and thereby help to release those problems. And in my opinion, the most effective way to do this is working in tandem, multiple methods of this at the same time, especially if you have a lot of blockages or a lot of trauma and you know that you do. Um, Massage therapy, is going to primarily be for the physical body. There are certain modalities that do the energetic body, like craniosacral therapy, like Reiki, things like that do target the energetic body as well. But that manual therapy is very important. And let's be honest here, physical touch, human to human, is very important, even when it's just for healthcare and relaxation purposes. Um, when I was a working massage therapist, I had a lot of clients that probably weren't touched very much outside of my space. They might not have had a significant other. A lot of them were elderly and they didn't have that human connection. Um, and that is important for our emotional health and our energetic health. Um, Exercise, yoga, both very helpful things. A lot of information on the psoas and the energetic health comes from yoga practitioners who have collected this knowledge and expanded upon it with the health community. Stretching, exercise, all of those things are going to help to decrease stress. Again, the most important thing. Um, but in tandem with meditation, with therapy, with all of these things, you can really um, prime your body to help release these blockages. Um, and the last thing, creativity, so important. I said earlier that a blocked psoas is gonna stagnate creativity. And a lot of that has to do with movement and stagnation. It's hard to be creative when you are feeling this stagnation through your body from blockages. Um, and being creative again, using imagination, creating things, dance, song, all of those things stimulate um, all three bodies in a positive way. So to me, creativity is very important. And I don't think that adults, especially, um, are bringing creativity into their daily lives. I think in our society, we have this idea that if you're going to do art or if you're going to sing songs or if you're going to dance, then you should be really good at it. And that you should only do those things if you're going to uh, make money off of it or get follows off of it or, you know, do it for other people when you really could just do those things for yourself. Um, So, what I would like you all to take away from this class is the knowledge that you have everything you need within your body to keep it functioning at an optimal level and keep your emotions happy, regulated, um, and be able to respond appropriately when stress happens in your life. And you have the ability to release trauma and blockages and help heal your own pain by embracing the idea that you are not just a physical form walking around, that all of your pieces intersect and all of them are intimately intertwined with each other in the wholeness that makes up you. And that we all deserve to be balanced and healthy, and whatever that looks for us. Uh, Slide. So thank you. Thanks for coming. That's me. That's my tradition. That's our seminary and the bibliography of my sources if you want to get some more information on any of these things. Um, and uh, if you need more suggestions or anything like that, have questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm here for you. So thank you for listening. I hope that you got something from it, and I'm open to any and all feedback. Have a great evening, and may you blessed be.